Hello students, let me explain about the cascading style sheets. Now coming to the levels of the style sheets. Okay, as I told you, cascading style sheets is used for the formatting purpose. Already I have explained you about the syntax of the CSS and everything. Now directly we'll go up with the levels of the style sheets. So in the levels of the style sheets, there are three different levels. One is the inline style. Next is the internal or document style, and third one is the external style. So coming to the first one, that is internal style. So internal style is the most simplest method of applying CSS to an element. It works only for the single line tag. To use inline style, we have to use the style attribute in the relevant tag. See here I have given one example. So I have opened one tag, that is a B tag. B stands for the bold. There I have used the attribute name called style. So style is equal to, I have mentioned the font style. So next I have given the content. So from B to the value whatever I have given for the style, it will be served as the open tag. Web programming will act as the content, and the /B will act as the closing tag. So this inline style will be applied only for this line, and that effect will be observed in that document. Coming to the second one, that is the internal or document style. So internal styles are used to define the styles for the whole page. So this style will be applied for the entire page. It works for one document. So to apply the internal or document style, we need to put all the CSS rules in the head part. So as we know that we are going to open up the HTML document with the HTML tag. After the HTML tag, usually we'll open up the header tag. Then in that header tag, we are going to include this internal or the document style. So example I have shown you. So once the HTML document is opened, we'll start with the HTML. After the HTML, we'll open up the header tag. Again, in the header tag, I have opened the tag called style. So in that style tag, I have used the attribute called type. Type is equal to text or CSS, which represents this is a CSS document. Next, I have given some formatting skills, that is a heading and a paragraph. The heading color should be red and the paragraph content color should be the yellow. Then I have closed the style tag and the header tag. This is the way how we are going to apply the CSS format to the entire document. Next, coming to the external style. So external style can be applied for the entire web pages. There is no rule that it should be applied only for the one line or only for the one document. It can be applied for the other documents also. And by simply, first what we have to do, we have to define the CSS in a plain text, save it as a .css file, and then this file is to be referred to from each of the pages in the website. The link can be created with any one of the HTML code as I have shown you in the syntax. Here, when we are moving from one document to other document, this is possible with the help of a link to from where to where we are moving. So this link will be generated with the tag called link tag. So here link rel is equal to, so I'll give the name of that CSS style sheet definition, and type is equal to, I'll mention text or CSS. Next, href is nothing but here it is a path of that file it is. So with this, whatever the link we have given to wherever we have given to all those documents, this external style will be applied. Coming to importing the external style sheets, the external style sheet can be imported using the link tag or at import. The general syntax for importing this external style sheets will be, so open up the S tag, in that style tag, then type is equal to, just mention it is a CSS type which is of a text type. Next, I have given at import. So at import dot URL. So it is a predefined function for providing the link or the path address, and inside that URL, so mention the file name. Then close the style tag. Next, coming to selector forms. As I told you, in the syntax of the CSS, first part of the syntax represents the selector. After the selector, we'll give the flower bracket, then we'll give the property name, then colon, next comes the value. So here, that the first part here, that is the selectors, represent the tag names of the HTML or HTML. Now, these selectors are of different types. See, these are the following selector types. Those are, first one is a type selector, second one is class selector, ID selector, descendant selectors, child selectors, universal selectors, adjacent sibling selectors, attribute selectors, pseudo classes, pseudo elements. Like this, 10 different types of selectors are existing. See, coming to the first one, that is a type selector. I have given one example with one diagrammatic representation. Here, type selectors will select any of the HTML element on the page, which should match with the selector regardless of their position. See, here I have given EM color blue. This shows that wherever that EM tag is there in the document, that EM content of the tag will be highlighted with color blue. So this rule will select any EM element on the page and color it as blue. Coming to the class selectors. So class selectors can be used to select any XHTML element that has a class attribute regardless of their position in the document tree. Example here I have given dot big. So dot big font size, I have mentioned it as 90% of the font size. This is the value what we have given in the class selectors. So whatever I have mentioned here, that big means the element big wherever it is present in the document, followed with that particular parent name will get highlighted, will get changed with the font size 90%. Next is the ID selectors. Almost these ID selectors are also similar to the class selectors, and they can be used to select any of this element which is having an ID attribute. So I would give, usually this ID attributes or ID selectors will be identified with the pound symbol, that is ash symbol. Example I have given div, pound, gaudy, color, green. So div tag. So whichever the tag that will be having the ID attribute and its value, that will get changed into the color green. Next, coming to the descendant selectors. Descendant selectors are used to select elements that are descendant of another element in the document tree. Descendant, the previous element of this tree. So ul.em I have given. So in the ul, whichever em is there, that will get highlighted with the pink color. Next, coming to child selectors. It is used to select an element that is a direct child of another element. They will not select all the descendants, only the direct children. So here I have given the example of declaring this child selectors is, I have given div, that is greater than symbol em like this. Here only it is going to consider the direct child of a particular element. If that is having any sub-children, then it is not going to consider that. So if any of the element is having the parent em child as a child, that will get converted into blue color. Next, coming to universal selectors. Universal selectors are nothing but all. So whatever the tags we have used in our document, all those tags, all those contents will get highlighted with the property what I have mentioned in the box, that is color red. So it is going to get converted into red color. Adjacent sibling sectors, last one. So here adjacent sibling means the immediate next child of you. So they will select the sibling immediately following an element. For example, if there is first element, next the second. So the second one will be selected as the adjacent sibling, not the third cage. So this is nothing but the selector forms. Next, coming to the attribute selectors. We know that attribute is nothing but an additional information which will be given to a tag. So they are used to select elements based on their attributes or attribute values. Here there are 4 types of attribute selectors. Here the first option is based on attribute. So the name of the attribute here. See example, I have given IMG, some square brackets, the title I have mentioned, next the border. Like that, whatever we have mentioned, based upon the attribute. IMG is nothing but one of the tag. Title is nothing but an attribute here. In the same way, the second option is based upon the value of the attribute. Here, IMG is an tag, SRC is an attribute. Here, small dot GIF is the value which is provided to the SRC. So that small dot GIF, that image is there, no? That will become 2 pixels of size and solid representation. The third method is to select space separated instances of a value. Space separated. Suppose sometimes for a particular attribute we will be using more than one value to represent. At that time we can separate each value with a space, and that values will be considered. The first value first it will be considering, next second, next third, like that it goes on. So next, the last method is the fourth method, which is known as hyphen separated instances of a value. So whatever the values that are there, each will be separated with a hyphen value with some separator mark like a hyphen star, like that it will be separated, the values. Based upon that, the values will be assigned for that attribute selectors. Next, coming to the pseudo classes. Here pseudo classes allow to format the items that are not in the document tree. So usually document tree is nothing but the representation of all the tags or all the elements of your document. So here, which are not in the document tree, to represent such type of elements or the items, so we can make use of the pseudo classes. So the first pseudo class, that is colon, first child, which represent the first child of that document, first element, colon link, link which is given to connect to the next document or the next page, next visited, which is already visited, h over, colon active, colon focus, colon language. So these are all the pseudo classes which we can style the links in the different ways. Next, coming to the pseudo elements, here these elements allows to style information that is not available in the document tree. So which is used to style the information. Here 4 different types are there. See the first one, that is first line and first letter. So colon first line, colon first letter. These are based on usually traditional type settings where the first letter or the first line appears different. So whatever the document, whatever the content is there, okay, the first line of that and the first character of that will be highlighted with the different way what we have represented in the CSS. Come on, first line. So here it is the selector for the first line of an element, first letter which is used for the first letter of an element, next colon before and colon after. These are used to insert the generated content either before or after the element of a page. Coming to the CSS units of measurements. Here, there are different types of CSS units of measurements. One is the number values. So, number values means usually the integer values or the float values. For example, 10 is an integer value, 2.5 is a real value. So, those numbers can be represented or named as a number values. Next, coming to the percentage values. So, we are representing the values for the attributes in the form of the percent symbol. That is, for example, 10%, 20%, 30%, like that. Next is the length values. So, for measuring the length, there are different types of units. One is the cm, that is centimeters, em. 1 em will be equal to the current font size. Next, ex, height of the lower case. px, pixels. in, inches. cm, centimeters. millimeters. pc, Picasso, that is 1 pica is equal to 12 points. And 8th one is pt, points. 1 point is equal to 1.72 inches. Next, color values. Color keywords, color values using the RGB values, URLs. URL value will be given by URL FOO, where the URL address will be provided with the foo argument name.